Welcome back to another episode of the Backlog Breakdown, a video game podcast where we seek to equip and encourage the church to engage the medium of video games wisely and responsibly. I'm one of your hosts, Josh, and with me, as usual, par for the course, is my co-host and my brother in Christ, Nate McKeever. Welcome.
You know, the other week when I actually said that we were friends, and you have omitted that.
That's true.
When so I'm wounded. You have wounded me, sir.
And my friend and brother in Christ.
And my friend and brother.
Yeah,
Nate.
I'm just listen. I'm going to start off just being antagonistic because and I know it's a bit of like this. Our content has not left me in a good mood. Like it's kind of like this is like we're going to be having a conversation. I wish we didn't have to, but unfortunately, it is a subject that needs to be addressed. And well, why not? Why? It's we have gone down some wiki holes and frankly, I'm just going to be like, well, you know what? I'll save some of this, but it's like, I kind of hit a certain point where I was like, I can go no further. I'm out in sort of researching some of this. So, but all that being said, in spite of the fact that like, we're going to have a fairly unpleasant conversation later on. I would like to know how it's been.
Oh, that was a good one. I didn't even play the sound effect.
It's been,
but your cadence was on point there, sir. But I'm doing well. It has been good. I feel like the past week has been a bit. I was going to say recovery. That's not true, but playing catch up. So I feel like I have been very busy, but in a good way, like productive. But just that there's been a bit more on my plate because I've had to kind of catch up on some stuff that I was not able to get done during the time in which I was at home with the kids, which went well, by the way.
Yeah.
Wife's back. All's well. We're doing good.
No children died.
No injuries either.
No maimings.
So,
oh man.
No.
Sick.
No, we did good. It just so now it's like, okay, now I can put into effect some of the new routine stuff and then and make sure I'm hitting the stuff that I want to get done, but then also kind of picking up the pieces of the time since because right after that, I don't know if I mentioned on the previous recording, but that Sunday I also had to preach. So the Tuesday night, my wife comes home. So then the next 2 days, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna spend some time up at the church Friday, Saturday. So those didn't feel like the normal, weekend days. Those felt like work days, and then Sunday, and it was good. Like, don't get me wrong, it was all good stuff. It's just been my absence from some of our social media platforms has been at least felt by me. I'll put it that way. But
yeah.
Anyways, getting my feet underneath me and doing well. How are you doing, sir? How's it been for you?
It's kind of similar. It's like I don't want to say like just like I've been in recovery mode, but we had a couple days where Byron wasn't doing well. I wasn't doing well, so like and it wasn't anything like super major, but it was like, just there were a couple days where I was feeling like kind of like out of it, and then and then Byron had a couple days where we couldn't send him to daycare. It was kind of like we had a little something kind of floating around the house, and then it's like I'm still kind of recovering from peak still. I know it's like we're like 2-3 weeks out, but I think part of it is I've just recognized that like my sleep patterns suck, and like recording tonight isn't going to help that. I mean, I do have tomorrow off, so it's but it's like yesterday, so it was Friday night. I couldn't fall asleep, and I did the dumb thing where it's like, oh well, I can't fall asleep. I'll look at my phone for a few minutes until then I like kind of like, I get into some things and I'm like, oh, it's 3 a.m. and I have to be up at 6.
Ouch.
I am an idiot. I am so dumb. And so then I get up and I worked like all day Saturday. And it was a pretty nice, it was like all things considered, it was a pretty nice day at work. But then we had my union Christmas party, Christmas party. Because we don't actually, like, dude, listen, you tell letter carriers like, hey, let's hang out the week of Christmas. And I'm like, I'm going to fight you. Like, I've seen entirely too much of you. And like, I don't need to be reminded of everything that I've gone through. So we've started in the last couple of years having it like sort of, so we had our Christmas party and Megan and I went to that, and it was like, it's good food, it's like, it's kind of nice. It's like, I was telling my one coworker, I was like, this is the nicest I will ever be to you.
Merry Christmas.
No, yeah, it was kind of like, it was like, now when I see you on Tuesday, I'm just going to be, I don't want you to be surprised when I'm just like,
sure,
calling you names and telling you how stupid you are. Like, yeah. But, no, it was good. We had a good time there. We spent a couple hours, and like I said, got free food, sort of did some of the, and there was actually like a lot of younger guys sort of made their first appearance. And so I introduced my wife to some of the younger guys from work that I really have come to enjoy. But yeah, no, it's
nice.
kind of it was just kind of like it was a kind of a mostly low-key week. Asher is doing he's actually responding to the training fairly well. He's still like he's still kind of a psycho, but I think it's like we're kind of like, and there are times where I'm just like today I had him outside a lot, and it was like, it was cold and I was bringing him in and stuff, but I was like, I just cannot deal with you today. Kind of, it's like, dude, like, it's like my cat almost died today. Like,
ooh,
my animals today were just like fraying my nerves. Like, I was just like, oh, but yeah, all things considered, it has been pretty good. Like, it's just kind of, it's been one of those things where it's like, I really have to start figuring out, like, I have to get better about like being more disciplined about sleeping. Because it's like, I was in kind of a holding pattern, especially during peak, where I was like, and this is kind of like full circle. This is like kind of where, but it was like, I was like sleeping 6 hours a night, which like, you can do that for a while, but like, I'm especially of an age where it's like,
you feel it.
Oh dude. And it's like, I'm just like it's the, I feel like too little butter spread over too much bread kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, I feel thin. Even though I'm not thin, I'm actually, I need to lose some weight. But all that being said, all things considered, doing pretty good. Pretty, like I said, I'm not relishing the topic that we're going to be talking about tonight, but I do think it's a conversation that we need to have. But before we get into that, like, I'd like to, I don't know, talk about things that I'm actually kind of like hyped on. So,
oh, nice.
Do you have any experiences you'd like to share?
That's right, XP Share, where we just share the best of what we've been into lately. And actually, funny enough, I'm going to start off on the wrong foot. My wife and I have been watching through the latest season of Only Murders in the Building, and it's just okay. And it is just okay enough to say that I wouldn't recommend it if you haven't seen the show. And I wouldn't, especially, in the format of this podcast, there's language, throughout. So there's some content in it that's not, it's not a squeaky clean show. But also,
yeah, I was just gonna say, I didn't watch all of it, like sit through, but I did kind of like, Megan was watching it, and I did kind of like my general feeling was like, was it the second season was like really kind of like a bit of a low point?
Yep.
I would put season 5 above season 2.
Yep.
But behind, I think, 3
All the
and
others.
4.
Yeah.
Like it's like 1, 3 and 4 are kind of like close because because Paul Rudd's in both of them, and he's a gem.
Well, Paul Rudd is actually in the 5th season as well, but he's the voice of a robot. So
Is he the robot?
Yeah, I thought it was Jim Gaffigan, and then my wife looked it up, and she said, "Nope, it's actually Paul Rudd." I was like, "Oh wow, okay." There you go. So, yeah, it's gone very goofy. There are just a number of scenes and things that happen where it's just like this. Like I feel like they jump the shark with some of the things that happen.
And this is the other part though too, is like, and I think the reveal at the end,
Mm-hmm.
I like because it's like, it's the whole premise is like a bit of a whodunit.
Yeah.
Was
now, I
like,
haven't watched the very final episode, but I've watched the 9 episodes up to it. So
I feel like the very
there's...
final reveal just kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's like,
okay,
really? But yeah. Anyways.
Okay.
Yeah. So
anyways, we've been watching that, so I did want to bring it up here. But I wouldn't recommend it. It's just okay. Some of the stuff that I would recommend, however, is that it is not very highbrow, but I've mentioned it on previous episodes of the podcast that sometimes I like to dip into, especially with the fighting games that I'm going to be playing this year. Sometimes I like dipping into some lore videos and things like that. And there's a guy that I've been watching on YouTube. He goes by Top Hat Gaming Man. That's right. He wears a top hat and he's got a British accent, which is always fun. But he does a lot of fighting game lore, but he's got videos on Street Fighter, and so I've been watching a bunch of those. He's got some other. Actually, just today I was watching one that was on the Marvel vs. Capcom series, which includes the versus Marvel superheroes versus Street Fighter, things like that. Before it was Marvel versus Capcom, so he does a bunch of different stuff like that. That was primarily just going through the games. That wasn't really lore. But if you're interested in Street Fighter lore, because it's absolute bonkers and it gets really dumb, Street Fighter's always been kind of dumb, but you know what I mean. Just kind of bonkers off the wall. Like, yeah, we've always known that M. Bison has psycho powers, but like, did you know that he's died and like resurrected his soul into multiple bodies at this point? And there are other. It's just, yeah. It's
fun
crazy.
fact. I actually did know that.
Yeah, well, and you've said that you've played a lot of 4, so that one gets. No, I think it's 5 where he gets the moon powers. But anyways,
he gets moon powers in 5.
The Shadow Lu, like I say, moon powers. The moon gives him more power, so he becomes even crazier than he was before. But anyways, it's bonkers, and sometimes it's just fun to like, oh wow, I didn't know how bonkers it gets, because I've been primarily familiar with Street Fighter 2 and Alpha stuff. But
I think I could be wrong, but I actually think the main villain of 4, like the whatever that guy is called, who has like the yin yang,
Seth.
Yep. For a belly. I actually think he was like he was supposed to be like a clone body for M. Bison.
For DS to put his soul into another body. Yep.
Yes.
Yep, that's correct. And then he is no longer a he in future games, which is also fun because he is not technically human. He's just a robot.
He's a robot body thing. Yeah.
Grows long hair and presents as female. His body's more female in a future game.
What?
But still goes by Seth. So there's that. I think he was DLC character, I think, but that's in Street Fighter 5, I believe. Anyways, the only reason I know this is because of YouTube videos, and so Top Hat Gaming Man is one of those channels. And he's, as far as I remember, he's pretty clean. Not that all the games are, the most clean. There's some wardrobe stuff in Street Fighter that is not always the best. But
Chun-Li and Cammy are both scandalous.
Cammy, but there's all in the Alpha series. What is the luchador? I can't think of her name. Anyways, there's some characters that are like, yeah.
It's
But
like that's a historical problem.
yeah, yeah. So, anyways, Top Hat Gaming Man on YouTube is the other one. The last one that I will recommend is a website that I found recently through ads on Facebook. Funny enough, but actually I like it quite a bit. And this is Chirp Audiobooks. So they have a number of audiobooks that they discount pretty heavily, and they rotate through them like weekly. And so I've been able to pick up a few for like $3-4, sometimes $1. So I only have a few audiobooks through them. But like recently I picked up for the whole family to listen to A Bear Named Paddington for like $4 or $5. So that's fun. They've got C.S. Lewis stuff on there. I'm trying to think of the other, because there were some others that I was like, oh wait, I do have that on Audible already. You know, not George Orwell. Yeah, George Orwell, I want to say. And then I think Animal Farm was on there for a few bucks as well. So anyways, another way that you can get audiobooks on the cheap is through Chirp Audiobooks. Found it recently and thought it deserved a recommend. So those are the experiences that I have to share this time around. What have you got to share with us, Nate?
You know, sort of going back to the well here, I'm wrapping up the Warlock Holmes series. I am overall pretty positive on it. It is very much like a not for everyone kind of thing. I like it. I like it, but there is some, like, it's definitely not appropriate for younger consumers. Like, and you know, frankly, there have been some things, but like overall, I'm pretty positive on it. I like it. I enjoy it. But I'm also like, yeah, it's not for everybody. So I'm still enjoying those. Like I said, I'm wrapping up the last book, and then there's one more book that's not part of the series, but it is a Warlock Holmes adventure. I'll probably check that out as well. Nice. So yeah, I like I said, I'm overall pretty positive on it. It's a little like, you know, it's a little wacky. Like I said, it's like Warlock Holmes is Sherlock Holmes meets the Cthulhu mythos with, you know, a bunch of like just shenanigans and hijinks. And it's like, it's way goofy. It's like, I don't know. There's a way that you could do it and it's like be super serious. And like I said, Neil Gaiman did that with his treatment in A Study in Emerald. But, and that was pretty fascinating, but this is like a lot more lighthearted, kind of fun. Yeah. And it's just, it's really interesting how the author kind of just like subverts, like he comes to the same conclusions, but the way that he does it is really always pretty surprising. Like the cases are all like, they're kind of in parallel and everything else. Anyways, yeah, it's really funny. And anyways, it's like I said, it's not for everybody. The other, there's a couple things too. I gotta pull up my notes here. I know the best radio, just the best guys I know. I guess I'm just gonna like just sort of the other. It's only really one other thing. It's like, yeah, I haven't been watching too much. I did watch. Okay, I did watch this. It was an anime Netflix called Akuma-kun. And it's technically it's a sequel to another anime by the same name, but I just, in good conscience, I can't recommend it to anybody. Like, I think it's, yeah, I just can't. I don't think it's like, it's not like blatantly offensive or anything like that. And it's actually like, it's got like a really great style, like stylistically. I actually think there's like kind of like a lot of charm to the design of the characters. I just think like the actual content is just like, well, it's just not good enough to like recommend to anybody. Like, I don't think it's like, and like, frankly, it's just kind of like, I don't know. Like, yeah. So I was watching that. I watched that and I was like, oh, this is fine. But ultimately, I just don't think it's worth I don't think I can recommend it.
Okay.
Really, for like I said, there's nothing obscene. It
Mhm.
is a little darker. It is much more adult in orientation, but I didn't see
Okay.
anything like there wasn't. I just didn't think it was like one. I didn't think it was that good, and I just
Okay.
So that's why I wasn't even going to talk about it. But like whatever.
There you go.
But lastly, and this is also kind of like a bit of a mixed bag, and that's just what I'm bringing is like,
That's all you got.
That's all I got. That's kind of like the stuff I've been into. But and I like this, but it's heavily caveated. Like this guy is not a believer. I just think one, he's pretty smart. He's also really funny. And not all like a lot of it like it's a guy called Caleb Hammer. He's a YouTuber. Oh, I wish I could talk. He does this show called Financial Audit with Caleb Hammer. He's actually from your hometown. If I
Yep.
And he's hysterical. He gets these people who are really bad with money in there. And like his whole story is like, he was like a 30 something. He was like pretty seriously in debt. He like started studying, like looking at money. He has like, I got like his intro course for $17.
Okay.
And so I was like, I figured I'd check it out and look at it, see if there's anything in there. I haven't gone through that yet, but his YouTube channel, it's just like, it's kind of mean, which is like probably why it appeals to me. But he gets these people on here who are bad with money, who make like, there is like the one that I watched, there is a young lady. And what I'm going to say is that she financed cosmetic surgery through Klarna and Caleb ridicules her for that decision. And it's really funny. It's really, but it is not family friendly. Like he is not a very nice young man. Now he's smart. And what I'm going to say is like, I don't think he's very nice. I actually think he's kind though. I think he's kind and maybe I don't think he's antagonistic for the sake of being antagonistic. I don't think he's malicious. I do think like he's probably playing a little bit of a game because he knows that this is like 100%. This will make good content.
Right.
But like also he's being brutally honest with these people. Like, and I think that's actually a bit of a kindness because it's like, he's basically like and so like, and again, now is he being, he's not, he's,
it's the equivalent of throwing a bucket of cold water at someone to get them to pay attention to what they're doing.
Yeah. And like I said, ultimately, I think he's like giving them good advice. He's giving them good counsel. And like, I think he means well for these people. I just think it's also like, it is kind of a little mean spirited and he's just, so it's like, I would say ultimately, I think it is a kindness that he is doing for these people and to these people. Like, he's like he's trying to help them.
Yeah.
But it's also really funny to watch.
Yeah.
So, and that's probably says a lot about me.
Well, funny enough, I've been watching him for a long time, and I'll just kind of dip in every once in a while. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not going to be like
watch a lot of his stuff.
I'm not a diehard. I don't think I would be a diehard, but I think he's really entertaining, and some of his stuff is really, interesting. Yeah,
he's become a lot more. He's leaned into the persona of just like mocking people and being relentless to people's face, like being more mean-spirited than he used to be for the YouTube algorithm, which works because also he's gotten guests that are much more unhinged. So he's leaned into that as like a company. The other thing that I'll say is that unfortunately, I think he gives me a little window into kind of average Gen Z, the way that they talk and the things that they think about. There is lots of sexual innuendo and outright talking about sexual things that is uncomfortable, but he talks about it in such a way that like this is common. Do you know what I mean? Like just a way that kind of college kids kind of talk to each other about those things that's not sensitive in the least. that is off-putting to me.
Yeah. Well, like I said, he's not family friendly at
Right.
all.
Right.
And yeah, I just kind of like it is an interesting window though. That's what I will say.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And like you said, he's smart. He is trying to share information, not in the way that I would recommend. I know what he's doing because he is trying to slap people over the face. And someone had said this that he's basically it's a finance show. It's a finance version of Jerry Springer because you get the craziest people with the craziest stories who do the craziest things.
Yeah, it's like Dave Ramsey, but if Dave Ramsey was hosted by Jerry Springer.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot meaner. A lot meaner.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't know that Jerry was ever openly antagonistic to people on his show. Like, that was kind of the interesting thing. I don't know if you ever watched Jerry Springer at all, but like,
no, I've just
he was almost like kind of what was really interesting is that he was like sort of almost like sympathetic to a certain degree. Like, he never, but like, he was just kind of like, I don't I could be wrong. It's been a long time since, but I never remember Jerry sort of antagonizing his guests. Yeah. It's not like Dr. Phil like has people on, right? And he's just like, no, you're an idiot. Stop being an idiot. Like, he does it kind of in that nice, gentlemanly Southern way, right? But yeah, but like, yeah, no, Caleb he's kind of mean, and I'm going to be like, and again, I'm kind of here for it because it's like, frankly, it's like, I think too, he's having the conversations with some of these people that like, if you knew them in real life, you'd want to have with them. Like, he's like, you're stupid. You're an idiot. Like, and you just need somebody to tell you, like, you don't know what you're talking about. You need to stop talking. Yeah. Like, and it's like, there is kind of like almost like a bit of a perverse pleasure in that where you're just like, no, yes. You're just kind of like, yeah, I know people I'd like to have this conversation with, like, so kind of thing. Yeah, but yeah, I can't recommend really any of the stuff I brought tonight. Like, I just like it's either it's either just not appropriate or whatever, or not very good. But yeah, or yeah. Yes. I mean, like I said, I do kind of like Warlock Holmes is definitely like, it's a very caveated recommendation, but like Akumakun, and that's spelled it's AKUMA hyphen KUN.
Yep.
So
yeah, well, I think we do actually have some things to recommend as we move forward too.
Yes,
because we're a video game podcast. We are a video game
podcast. Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of those video games. I actually don't have too much new to bring to the table. I will say I'm continuing in Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line. And this is kind of like my nighttime game, if that makes sense. I play this in front of the family because my kids like it a lot too. And it is just fun. It's fun. It's fun seeing numbers go up, but like, I enjoy rhythm games. I enjoy Final Fantasy music. I played through some of the tracks so it has lots of different games on it. It's also got these side Final Fantasy games. So it's got a total of 17 different games you can choose from, all with varying amounts of tracks. And some of the side games have only a few amount of tracks. One of those is Final Fantasy Mobius Final Fantasy, which was a phone game. But it has some of the craziest music, and it's crazy in the sense of just like, it's almost what was that style, that Skrillex style? What was that called? I can't think of it off the top of my head, but
what was it? It's like, it's right there at the tip of my tongue.
It's gonna bite me eventually, but it's somewhat that style mixed with like some weird heaviness to it. But anyways, I was actually very impressed by dubstep. Yes, there you go. It was very dubstep inspired, which I'm generally not one to go for it. But in this context, I was intrigued by it because it was so different than some of the other stuff. But anyways, I like Final Fantasy music. I like that game, and my kids like, having fun watching me play it, they have fun playing it as well. So it's going to be a while before I'm done with the game because there's over 300 tracks in the game.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it's insane. It's insane how much is in there. So, so I'll continue on it kind of as the nighttime thing. The other game that I'm playing that I started and that I've been playing is Sea of Stars. And man, there's a lot to say about this game. I'm not too far into it, maybe 6-7 hours at this point. So still got quite a ways ahead of me. I'm enjoying my time with it. I think it's got some beautiful pixel art. The artwork for the game might be a little on the generic indie game side. But the artwork of everything, the landscapes and things that are in it, I really do enjoy. I enjoy the style. Um, when it first started out, I was a little, I'll just be honest, I was a little kind of like, I don't know about this. Fantasyland, the thing that rubbed me the wrong way is you've got these two protagonists and you can choose which one you want to be. It doesn't really matter. They're both coming along for the ride, but a male and a female character. And it basically, when it starts off, you're told that the male character is going to be more of your, his emphasis is going to be on speed, while the female character, her emphasis is going to be more on kind of raw power. And that just rubbed me the wrong way because I don't like it when you go against kind of the traditional kind of things that, you see. Look, guys are generally stronger than girls. And so it was kind of weird to me, like, are we getting, kind of starting off on the wrong foot. However, as the game's progressed, that hasn't really come back up. So it has not been a big issue. So I could just be too sensitive to some stuff like that. But I'm enjoying my time with it. And it's fun running around in the world and finding secrets and stuff like that. And I like the combat system with the timed hits is fun as well. It provides a bit of a challenge. Like I have gotten a couple game overs as well. Not too much challenge, but yeah, it's fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying my time with it. So Sea of Stars is good stuff. That's really all I've been playing. So my beatdown score has not changed. I'm still at -2 for finishing 2 games so far this year, and still have not picked anything up. So I'm doing all right for myself so far here in January. But Nate, how about you? What games do you have to share?
Yeah, nothing really to I haven't picked up anything,
Okay.
haven't beaten anything.
Okay.
It's just kind of like hanging out in Destiny 2 for a little bit here and there. I fired up my Switch 2 not too long ago, with the intent to finish Link's Awakening. Still haven't done that. I need to get that done. But I did kind of I'm a Dragon Warrior stan. Like we did our personal top 10 list not too long ago, and Dragon Quest 7 Reimagined, like a demo came out for it, and so I actually carved a little bit of time today. I carved a little bit of time out today to check out that demo, and what I've played, I really, really like so far. I think that the demo is fairly substantial. I think it's a few hours long. I've got a couple hours into it now, and yeah, it's it is the one character, Prince Kiefer, I think his name is, kind of looks like the Matt Damon puppet from
oh goodness. Team America.
Matt Damon. Matt Damon. Right. But he kind of looks like the Matt Damon puppet a little bit. But yeah, I'm overall just liking the game. I mean, it's Dragon Quest 7, so it's like it's Dragon Quest. There's some, it's pretty cool. It's definitely like, it's one of those things that, yeah, if I have some like credit or something, like I might try and like snap up at some point in time, but I am very much holding to like, I don't want to buy anything.
Okay.
So At least for now. I'll tell you what, there's a few games. Like, here's the thing. Like, I really do want to just not buy anything this year. And again, like the one sort of like easing up is like, if I have like, birthday or Christmas present type stuff.
Sure.
But like, there's a few games coming out this year that really kind of have me, pretty curious, and Dragon Quest 7 Reimagined is one of them. So
nice.
But yeah, the demo's pretty cool. I like it so far. I think it's kind of interesting for me because I played some of 7 years ago, but like the original version of that game is just ridiculously long. I think it's like 130 hours for just a base level playthrough or something like that. It's like, and then there was a DS revision of the game, which they did sort of like tighten that up to where it was like, oh, it's only like 80 hours to beat the game now or something like that. But yeah, I like it. I like and I've always liked the premise. It's like I know what it's about for the most part. So yeah, it's like that's probably the biggest hole too in my Dragon Quest like cred, as far as like I've pretty much played everything else, especially since we went back and we've played a couple for the podcast.
Right.
So yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm enjoying that. It's pretty cool. Like I think it's a demo, so it's worth checking out. But yeah, I haven't bought anything. Haven't really. It's just kind of like I said, I've been in recovery mode. I've actually had a really busy last couple of weeks, and actually this week I've got some stuff kind of like that I got to take care of too. So, but yeah, yeah, all things. Yeah, so no change on my beatdown. So I'm still at the goose egg, which is like fine.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, all that being said, so if you guys, if this is your first time listening to the show, checking it out, whatever, you're saying like, what are these numbers they're talking about? It's it's the Backlog Beatdown. You're listening to the Backlog Breakdown, and we have book clubs and all the all sorts of shenanigans. But the Beatdown is specifically a meta that we run all year long, and it's just it's a tool. It's a sort of a mini game, meta game kind of thing that is meant to sort of help people, to think a little more intentionally about like prioritizing the stuff that they already own.
Yep.
And acting as a bit of a throttle against just purchases. So, the TLDR is basically like, if you beat games that you already own, you take negative points. So you're taking away from the pile. And when you buy stuff, you're adding to the pile. So you take positive points. And the goal is to get as low a score as possible and even go into the negatives. So yeah, that's what those numbers are. If that sounds cool, if you're interested, we do have the 2026 rules haven't been finalized. They're not really that much different from 2025, but we have copies of those. Like we can shoot you a link or shoot your, it's in our Discord server, all that stuff. So yeah, but if you like us, if you like this show, something that we want to sort of tell people about is we have a Patreon, and like so many other podcasts out there, it's a way for you to partner with us. It's a way for you to maybe sort of go a little bit above and beyond. Like if you've done the sharing and the caring, you've done the rating and the reviewing, and you want to go a little bit further, we have a Patreon. And for as little as $1 a month, you get early and uncut access to each and every episode. And hey, you want to give us more, we're not going to tell you no. But for as little as $1 a month, you get early and uncut access to each and every episode. There's a patron exclusive podcast called The Bro Hang. It tends to be a lot more freeform, a lot more maybe chaotic. I don't know. It's a mixed bag. There's also our patrons get access to our schedule. They get to see what we're going to be talking about. And part of that is that our patrons, they kind of help shape the show. So like right now we're actually getting ready to start voting on patron pick games for 2026. So they've nominated those. We're going to sort of lock in those nominations. They're going to vote on those. And so that we'll know here in a couple of weeks, maybe even by the time of next episode, what the patron games are going to be for 2026. We'll do episodes of that. Patrons can jump on those episodes with us. They can pitch topics and jump on those episodes with us as well. There's just a lot more going on there. And frankly, part of their even access to the calendar is them being able to see what we're going to do in advance, so that if they want to sort of jump in on a topic that maybe, we can do that as well. They're just a lot more involved. They have a little more access to us in the Discord. We have an exclusive patron, channel in the Discord and all that stuff. So yeah, if any of that sounds appealing to you, we'd love to have you, jump on board with us. That being said, we are also proud members of the Playwell Network alongside our friends Paul Lytle, Techno Funk Boy, Wesley Ray, the Henshin Dad, and Nick Porch, the Wonder from Down Under. Each one of those guys has a podcast tackling in their own way the sort of wrestling with what does it mean to play well. So that being said, we love those guys. We think you should check out some of their stuff. And here's a word from one of them.
Do you think that this is like a really close-up shot of two small crabs, or were those really big crabs?
How do you know they're even real?
They're imaginary crabs. Jimpleton, please tell me we can go look for imaginary crabs. Can we?
How would you look for something that's imaginary?
Oh, that's the best thing to look for. War has come to Krynn, a war building for centuries as dragons and gods drift into myth and legend. This is the war that will bring an end to it all, or restore what was lost for good. Dragonlance, The Thorns of War, is an actual play Dungeons & Dragons podcast. Available everywhere in May. Subscribe today.
And we're back. All right, folks.
Back.
So Josh pointed out to me that sort of in the opening of the episode, we actually didn't disclose what we're going to be talking about. But I'm assuming most of you are literate. So we're going to be talking about Roblox, and that's why we don't want to do this. I don't think it's a spoiler. Like, I don't think either one of us is going to have much good to say. Now, I did not play anything. I have no interest on downloading that abomination of an app or game or whatever you want to call it to anything that I own. And it was more of just like the research. And I think that some of my primary contentions are like, I think it is one of the most predatory game, like just the pricing models, because it's a free to play game, but it has like subscription services and the microtransactions, and it's just like it's incredibly predatory. Like, I as somebody who plays, does like the games as a service kind of stuff, like I'm not a stranger to any of those models, like Marvel Snap, Destiny 2. They're both like, pretty, but like Roblox is, but also, so, and I don't think it's like it's not too far outside of like just what you would expect with that stuff. But I think as a general rule, those models are just predatory in nature. Like they're just built to kind of bleed the consumers dry on that. The other thing is like, and again, it's sort of like the areas that I'm kind of like, I was most chiefly interested is that, like financially, it's a model that they make tons and tons of money, but they consistently operate at a loss every like year over year, which I just think is like, I don't understand how it keeps going. Especially sort of like since they've been in court for like, they've been in trouble with the law on more than a few fronts. And it was actually like one of the things is actually there was just, and I did want to, I did sort of do a little bit of reading about this, but actually somebody basically just like pirated, like built a, so there was a game, the genre has been called Friend Slop, which I actually really love. But it's like these community driven games that are sort of like, but this game Peak, Peak, it's about like climbing a mountain and you do it with your friends. And it's sort of like all the characters are like goofy, but it's like very physics based. It's got proximity chat and stuff. It's like, it's actually like kind of cool looking. I don't know that I would ever do it, but it's about climbing a mountain, and there's all sorts of like ridiculous stuff that kind of accompanies that. But it's a game that's meant to be played with friends.
Yeah.
Somebody on Roblox basically like just stole that and rebuilt it in Roblox and called it something else, like stupid. And actually the creators of Peak, like the people who made it, say, we would rather you pirate our game than download that abomination.
Oh, wow.
Like they basically said, like, we would rather you steal from us than support the guy who actually stole from us. So I mean, like, and that's like, and there's a lot of like, there's a lot of just like even asset stealing and stuff like that. There's a lot of really like kind of gnarly stuff going on in Roblox as far as just like, what people create and monetize and everything. So it's like there's a lot of problems going on in that as well. So there's like kind of like my chief sort of like, because like, and obviously and the stuff that like it leaves you feeling really slimy is just like it's a breeding ground for grooming and terrorists and pedophiles, and it's gross. So yeah.
All right. So tell us what you really think, Nate.
Yeah, we're gonna and I don't think like we've talked about this, and it's like we haven't talked about this, but I don't think this is going to be incredibly long. I think it's just like this is like mostly we're not going to get into actual like I don't think we're going to get too far into like actual details of things, but like this is a problematic platform for a lot of reasons. Like Roblox is a problem. And, it's specifically, I think the long and short is like, and again, we'll talk about some of the details of this and not just, but it's like for Christian families, I don't know, like and again, maybe this is spoiling, but like, I think obviously you'll have it, but I think neither one of us will like, this is actually, we would strongly encourage you to keep this out of your home. For a lot of reasons. Because like on one hand, it's not even that the microtransactions and the pricing and all that stuff, like that's problematic. It's much more the fact that like it's a platform that it's like I don't remember if we talked about, well, we might have talked about this, I think pre-show, but it's kind of like the point of comparison is like, it's like YouTube in a way where it's like, there's a whole bunch of stuff on YouTube, but when you have really nasty, gnarly, like morally bankrupt content, well, to a certain extent, but like, there's a lot of content on YouTube that gets struck or removed or demonetized because it's abhorrent. That is not the case on Roblox. Like, and actually some of the reasons, like, yeah. And unfortunately it's because they're making money off these people. And so it actually represents a pretty significant conflict of interest for them to remove people that probably shouldn't have access to this. So yeah.
I think that's a good TLDR for the rest of the episode of that's kind of the conclusions, a number of different conclusions that I think we will come to as we kind of parse this out a little bit. Obviously, we're not going to get into all the details, but I wanted to start with that introduction there. Of just what Roblox is. You've referred to it as a platform. But also, actually, even before we talk about what Roblox is in particular, why are we even talking about Roblox? Like, why is this? Because as you said, you didn't even want to download it. You don't want to play it. I have not played it in anticipation of this episode. I've actually never played it. My personal experience that we can get into in a little bit has to do with my kids. And so that's primarily the lens kind of that I come to with this. Actually, that's kind of the start of it, is my personal experience. But we have this podcast where we address how we ought to think as Christians about video games and how we dig into them. And unfortunately, yeah, as I've taken a look more into things that go on this platform of Roblox, it did seem like something that I wanted to kick around here on the podcast, especially with some developments and things that are currently going on. You mentioned how they're in some hot water in terms of lawsuits being brought up, and these are like states, what is it, AGs, I think, attorneys general, that are suing Roblox for not following through on the safety protocols that they say that they are. So with those things in general, I think also the elephant in the room is the fact that Roblox is one of the most profitable. Well, like you said, they're running at a loss.
It's
It is
a
one
massive
of the largest
revenue generators.
Yeah,
it's huge. It's as a sort of interesting point of comparison, like you did the Googling, like Nintendo's market value is more than them, but not by much.
Yeah,
and Nintendo is like one of, like, Nintendo isn't as big as like PlayStation as far as like market cap, but it is, yeah. It's not nothing.
Right. Nintendo's market cap, but just from my cursory research, is at 77 billion, where Roblox, which is one game, not an entire, company making consoles and all this stuff, is 61. So, yes, there's gap, there's difference there, but also it's crazy to think about how large this is. And as I've been doing some research, I have heard from multiple sources that the estimate is that about 3 out of 4 children in the United States plays Roblox.
And I think that's the why, because chances are a child who's in this, or it's like you have a child that is sort of aware or in this game. And I think like it's kind of like, that's why, because it's like, if we're like, part of our whole mission statement is to encourage and equip the church to engage with video games wisely and well, right? Like this, and this is arguably one of the biggest games, period. And so, again, that estimation that 3 out of every 4 kids is playing this game, it's like, you probably know somebody who's playing it. And
So we wanted to talk about it and address it as well. So if that's some of the stats on the game itself, I did also want to give, at least, for those of us who've never played the game before, again, you referred to it as a platform, and that is apt. So Roblox, if you think of Minecraft is digital Legos, then Roblox is I probably should have thought about this before I opened my mouth and tried to give
it's
something there.
It's digital Legos turned up to like 10,000.
And it's it's a platform for creating games and creating experiences. So like Mario Maker for Wii U,
it's a game engine. It's a game engine.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a gamified game engine. Like it's highly accessible. And what I will say is, like, I actually like that idea in theory.
Yes.
I think the problem is like the cultivation, and like, listen, you don't want to be sort of like like gatekeepers are traditionally thought of as being like problematic, like, gatekeeping, like, keeping people out of like fandoms and things like that. Actually, like sometimes you want gatekeepers. Sometimes you want people at the door who are like, no, thank you. Like what's kind of interesting is actually Sony has deplatformed a bunch of like the junk games, like the like jumping spaghetti or jumping, like those dumb, like just like garbage AI script games that are just there to like, they've actually just removed dozens of those. Like recently, it kind of made a bit of a headline. It might be more than that. It might be like in the hundreds because like those games are just viral. So you actually want like cultivation. And here the problem isn't like that there are some peoples that should not be given access to these tools. Yeah. I mean,
and one of the reasons I compare it with Minecraft, one, it's the ubiquity. Okay, it's huge with kids. But two, I mean, they started around the same times, from what I could tell. And they've both grown in popularity. But where in Minecraft it's more about building areas, with Roblox it's more about building games. And so Roblox as a platform, like you said, it's sort of like a game engine where you can create your own games if you want to. If you don't want to, then you can just create a character and go into all different kinds of games and do different things. And so like I said, my two older children, I've got three, the two older ones were introduced to it with some friends, and they played some games with their friends and then some friends from church as well. And they would play a number of different games, but they played the games, the most popular games. So something called Rainbow Friends, which is I'd say kind of a take on like Five Nights at Freddy's, where they're supposed to be these happy-go-lucky characters, but turns out, they have a knife and they're running after you, kind of a thing, kind of a survival horror type game for kids. They played those games, but my daughter was more interested in this game called Brookhaven, which is more just like a life sim kind of game, drop you in this town, and you have your, maybe you could become a police officer, or maybe you become a thief, and so the police officers come and get you, kind of a thing. And so there are those types of games. I know early on, and obviously it continues on, you can do kind of shooter games. You can do a bunch of different kinds of games because Roblox is a platform. I believe currently there's like I can't remember the decimal place, if it was 20 or if it was only 2 million games on this platform currently right now. And of course, they are going to range from just like really stupid, small experiences to some bigger, more well thought out games where maybe there's survival elements and there's a story being told and things like this. I was actually just corrected. So there's a total of 40 million different games.
14 million.
Yeah. And this is on a platform where, like you said, it's free to play. Okay. So you have potential access to all of these games. All, on the one hand, it sounds like it's everything you could ever want. But of course, the quality of these games are going to vary. But if you want to just waste some time, it's there for you. And it's user generated content. So if you want to learn how to do that stuff, you can as well. So as you said earlier, I do think there are some potential positive elements.
However, I think this thing is super cool in theory.
Yeah.
I think just the fact is like the reality of the situation is like, makes me want to like run into the hills shrieking.
Well, so now let's dig into that just a little bit more. So now, hopefully we've painted a good enough picture of some of the stuff that goes on, at least what Roblox is as a series of games, as a platform where you're searching through, what are the latest games? What are the maybe not the newest games, but what's the most popular games, that everyone's kind of talking about? Because it was word of mouth the way that my kids heard about it. And the popular games are very popular to the point where there are I just mentioned it, Rainbow Friends. There are toys of Rainbow Friends at Walmart right now. My kids learned about other 99 Nights in the Forest and things like that from friends. So these things are, well, it's making an impact culturally, at least for kids nowadays, and so that'll continue. So that said, yeah, while there is, like you said, a good idea here, user-generated games, kids making games for other kids, this platform you can play in, you can jump on and play with your friends and talk with your friends while you're playing, chat with your friends while you're playing these games. So there's a reason why it caught on, right? However, there are a number of things that this platform does that hamper all of the good aspects. Is how the more that I look into it, it seems like there are limitations on the best aspects of this platform that only serve to increase some of its worst aspects. And so you mentioned monetization. This is a free-to-play platform, but what do you have, or do you have anything to kind of bring to the table, the things that you dislike about the way that things are monetized in Roblox? Because I do have some stuff to say here.
Not specifically. I just think as a general, like, I would just say, like, as I looked into it, it's like I said, I don't think it's like the worst offender as far as like its monetization goes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's, I just think like it is like all of those models tend to be fairly predatory. I also like, for me, like the thing that just like blows my mind is that this, again, it was like, what was it? $3 billion a year that it generates, like, and then, but that it continues to operate at a loss. And I recognize that some of that is that money is being like turned around and sort of like they're just like aggressively like trying to build, like, because a lot of that money goes back in and towards like building but it's like they're operating like at one point in time it was like $900 million at a $900 million loss for a fiscal year. And I'm just like, dude, it's like, so there's like a turn of like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's insane to me. Like, that's just untenable.
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, it's like, yeah, there's something in there where it's like, it's not like a virtuous feedback loop kind of cycle thing where it's like, cause like, they're just like going to like pull more and more money from people. And at the same time, like, there's something really nasty about that churn that I just don't like. It's like, yeah, you're generating, again, $3 billion in revenue. You're losing, you're operating at a loss for almost $1 billion. And it's just like, and the majority of your spend is dedicated to basically extracting more money from people. And I'm like, man, I don't like, there's something, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, I just don't like any of that. So yeah, that's like, I just think the model's like, I think the model's gross and I don't understand how it's like, I just like, dude, it's not like, and again, this isn't million, this is billion with a B. Right. And I'm just like, that is so much money. Just, yeah. So like, again, specifically, I think that like, it's part of that conversation to, yeah. But anyways, yeah.
So some of the things that I've found out in the past few days is the way it's not even necessarily the way that money is spent within the game. Well, actually, the way that it's spent. So let's take a second there and just recognize that this game does not allow you to. It has its own set of digital currency, which are Robux.
The Robux.
You can't use your money like actual money in game, you have to purchase Robux. And the Robux are what you use for transfers within the game, which is pretty standard. There's nothing special necessarily about that. However, I watched 2 videos in particular on YouTube from a channel called People Make Games. And they talk about what it's like to be one of these creators of the games that are in Roblox. So because they give you the tools to create a game if you want to. And if your game gets big, then you get a cut, from some of the stuff in the game. I don't understand, I don't know how that monetization necessarily works. I just know that you get a cut of whatever is made in the game. However, you are paid in Robux. You are not paid in dollars. You're paid in Robux. And what I've come to find out is that you can only transfer Robux, to exchange the currency into actual currency after you have made $1,000 worth of Robux. Like, you can't take anything less than $1,000 out, and so you have to make at least $1,000 in order to actually make money or use those Robux on the platform itself. Now, with the current state of millions of games on the platform, you don't have much chance of making a game that's going to make money unless you purchase ad space within Roblox so that your game gets featured and you have to pay for it. Oh, the other thing is that in order to transfer Robux into dollars, we'll say in our case, you need to be a premium member. So you need to be paying, $5 a month or whatever it is.
No, I think the premium is 20.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I know that you need to have a subscription. You can't just have a free account in order to transfer that out, which I get business expenses. I understand that. It just seems to me that for a platform that relies on user-generated content, that there are lots of restrictions in place so that the people actually attempting to create these games, which are essentially not all, but you would essentially assume that a lot of these people are children trying to learn to make their first games. They don't have much chance of actually
premium. Just for clarification, premium is actually tiered. There's 3 levels. So there's Roblox. There's a $4.99 a month premium.
Okay.
That includes 450 Robux monthly allowance.
Okay.
And it has like some other stuff. Then there's a $9.99 a month, and that provides 1,000 Robux monthly.
Gotcha.
And then there's a $19.99, and that provides 22. So 1,000 Robux is roughly equivalent to about $10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, you need a lot of Robux.
Right. Right. The other thing about the from the side of the fact that it's user generated content and I can imagine being a kid and wanting to, create a level or something like that, create a game for myself. And the way that the platform is set up is that the skills that you learn in creating games on Roblox are non-transferable. So with something like Unity or another platform that you build a game on, you are learning transferable skills. And not only that, like the game that you create in Unity, you can sell it on multiple platforms potentially. itch.io or Steam or something like that. You Humble, again, potentially. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but you can also kind of like own the source code to your own game, right? Whereas with Roblox, that's not the case. They give you a set of tools. You use those tools to create the game.
And then that content is locked to their platform.
Right. There's
Yep.
like you don't keep any of it. In fact, I've heard stories of users who have had their entire games deleted because of various things.
Mhm.
Maybe they used an asset that was Roblox approved, but Roblox found out that, oh, actually that asset was stolen. Even though they got it in a legitimate way to use, the person got it in a legitimate way. Well, it made its way onto there because it was stolen. And so now their
Yeah.
entire game has been deleted because of that
Well, and
reason.
and
So,
yeah, that sounds like that's actually like that's happened. And that's like sort of
mhm,
when we were even talking about the stuff with piracy. Like that's one of the biggest, like, okay, so there was the game Peak that was basically just like lifted into,
mhm,
but then there's just stolen assets, and there's people like creating content. Like here's the thing is like, and at some point in time we will have to talk about intellectual property law again, but like
sure.
there are companies like, Nintendo is very litigious. We've talked about
Mhm,
this, like, and so it's like, and they very much are about protecting their brand. So and it's like, this is sort of like low hanging fruit, but it's like you, okay, let's just say to like make like a Pepsi can in a video game, you actually have to get approval from, you have to license that right from PepsiCo.
mhm,
And so it's like a lot of people make content, it's not properly licensed, and then when the actual IP holder finds out about it, it's struck. And then
mhm,
like Roblox is like, well, all these games were using it, and they just wipe all of that
mhm.
instead of going to those people. And now, and again, I'm not saying that this is because one of the things I did find out is that it does seem that there's like, they're not super consistent in how they deal with all this stuff all the time, like across the
Right.
board. Like sometimes it's just like gets deleted sometimes. So there's a fair amount of inconsistency in all of that.
Yep.
And some of that may even be problematic in the way that some of this is leveraged. Um,
Mhm,
because yeah, anyways, and again, we'll probably get there in a little bit. So it's like, instead of saying, hey, like you would think that the universal sort of response would be like, hey, you use this asset. This asset turns out can't use that. Like it's not licensed or whatever. License holder, or the IP owner was like, hey, don't use this anymore. So what,
mhm.
you're just going to get like a placeholder asset, like, and you have to fix it,
Sure.
and you're not compensated. You're not giving that money back. Like that's just like down it's all gone. Like
Mhm.
it's very like, well, and again, I can't speak for certain, because like, again, there's sort of an inconsistency, but like, it's kind of like, yeah. Um, so like that, but yeah, the stolen assets in Roblox is kind of like a big deal.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. So you have some issues there, which this is kind of we don't want to get super granular on details and things like that. And this is a little bit of a kind of a tip of the iceberg kind of a thing. Like, oh yeah, it feels a little slimy in the way that, that what could be a very positive thing about teaching kids how to create games, about giving them an incentive to create games. I think of even early days of YouTube, when there would be a random YouTube video on the front page, like this is a video of the day, and people got famous off that when they had no followers beforehand, things like that they could do to kind of encourage newer creators. They're playing to their strengths with because there are specific Roblox developers, handfuls of people that get together, adult people, to create some of these games so that they can make money, and it's a whole business thing. So, um, I don't like it. I don't like it. It seems like it's kind of taken advantage. What could be a positive, seems to be a negative from that one. I do also want to mention, before we get to kind of the darkest areas of Roblox, is that with user generated content in general, what you are going to see and this is platform wide, so this spreads out more than just the games themselves, but it does play into what you see in the types of games that you see, is that because it's user generated content, it is a bit of a Lord of the Flies situation where it's kind of the lowest common denominator. So long as your games have a satisfying loop in them for kids, they tend to be the most popular. For instance, right now, one of the most popular Roblox games is called Steal the Brain Rot. The only reason I know this is because my son has been playing a version of this game on Fortnite, and I didn't realize that Fortnite is just ripping off Roblox. But it's basically,
There's something ironic to me is that like basically Fortnite is built off the fact that they basically stole the battle royale formula out from underneath. What was that? What is that? PUBG. They're like, and then it became like this is massive platform, and now that's hysterical.
Yeah.
But is that so? But that's about the Italian brain rot characters.
Well, yeah, just tons and tons of different brain rot characters that say dumb things.
Oh no, this
so
brain
it's
rot
just
thing
goofy.
is like it's been on it's like there's like this whole Italian characters brain rot. Italian brain rot. Yes. So there's a shark with feet called Tralalero Tralala.
Okay.
There's a crocodile that's also an airplane called Bombardiro Crocodilo. There's Tung Tung Harar Tung 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 Sahur.
Yeah.
Yes. Like this, like Cappuccino Assassinino, Assassino. I don't know. Bombadini Gusini, like, yep. Yeah. No, brain rot is like, I've seen this thing like popping up. It's insane.
Yeah. And it's like, look, I get that it's intentionally dumb. I did dumb stuff when I was younger too. I understand that. However, but my point being is that these things that are quick dopamine hits, because the game is essentially you grow these things, and if your base is open, they grow faster and make you more money. But if your base is open, then someone could come by and steal them. And that's like the whole that's the whole game. And so you can go and steal other people's brain rots. Why are they brain rots? Because brain rot is funny. Like, because they took the concept of growing things and use memes instead of actually, plants or things like that. Which, again, if I put myself into the mindset of a 12-year-old, I get it. It's goofy, it's silly, it's fun to say dumb stuff with your friends. It's the reason that people say 6'7", It's stupid and it's fun. I understand that, and I don't want to completely poo-poo that, but I'm saying that this is the kind of stuff that kind of overruns the platform, and why I call this a bit of a Lord of the Flies situation, is that those are the kinds of things that are going to take up people's time, because you just log on with your friends and you just do dumb stuff, as opposed to trying to have a more, memorable or meaningful experience, because it's user generated. It's not necessarily someone who has a passion for, making a good video game. It's more like, how can we game the system? What is a gameplay loop that we can hook our player base, which is primarily children, with? So it's a bit of a race to the bottom, I would say, with the content that makes it popular.
Yeah. It's called brain rot for a reason.
Well, yes. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, yeah, that implies that it is not particularly good, or good for you even. Yeah. I think, so yeah, and there's just like, lowest common denominator. I think it kind of appeals to, and I think I think that is something that is sort of at odds, right? Is that the Christian worldview recognizes children as a gift, but they are
Mhm.
gifts that are to be shaped
Mhm.
and like, the culling of it. Whereas the world sort of tends to look at children, I mean, like as sort of like there's this kind of like ideology where it's like somehow we like the children are the real arbiters and we need to become more childlike. I mean, like Greta Thunberg has become the thing that she is because of this like insanity where somehow they have like these kids have a higher grasp on truth,
Mhm.
that they understand the world, like they're not as corrupted, and so like they're more pure and more innocent. It's
Mhm.
like, no man, like whatever. And so there's some of that, and it's like I think that is like capitalized on in some of this, but then it's also like you basically, and again, it's sort of that predatory nature of some of this stuff where it's just like it's seeking to exploit these kids, and it's exploiting them
Mhm.
by appealing to like kids are kind of dumb. Like I love my son, but like you know if you ask him what the greatest thing in the world is right now, he'd tell you choo-choo trains and monster trucks.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
And it's like, and while those things are cool, like we
Mhm.
like choo-choo trains, we like they're not like premium, like like, but that's what he's about. That's what he loves, and
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just
Well,
like, and I guess that's one of those things where it's like it's just like it's a degradatory effect or a deleterious effect in a lot of ways, in the sense that like it's not cultivating taste or
mhm.
it's not
Mhm.
it's not challenging. There's nothing like, it's just like, it's like, listen, I think I'm pretty sure I said it on a fairly recent episode of the podcast that like poop and farts are funny, right?
Sure.
But
Mhm.
that is not the entirety of my sense of humor,
Right.
right? It's
Right.
included, it's a part, but like you want things to be like a little bit more than just like base level. And like the reality is like this kind of content actually encourages little to no introspection, little to
Mhm.
no with like thought or like meaningful engagement.
Yeah. Yeah. The less it asks of you, the better,
Yeah.
because more people are going to play it, because frankly the experiences are so transient on the
Hmm.
platform by nature, because you've got a million other options if you want.
And it kind of actually too, like the fact that there is like so much accessible there, I think
Mhm.
as a general rule, like devalues everything.
Mhm.
It's kind of like the what I would call maybe like the Game Pass conundrum, where it's
Mhm.
like you have there are the vast majority of people who use or used Game Pass, like their rate of completion for games was significantly lower than people who predominantly bought their games, right?
Mhm.
Because what Game Pass did is it gave you the chance to dabble. And so you
Yeah.
could like get in and get out. And some of that is like, the what do they call it? Oh, you buy something and you feel like you need to actually eat it or use it or play it or whatever.
Mhm.
What is that? It's a concept.
Right. It's like buying yeah, what's it called? Oh my goodness, the lost something fallacy or something. Loss aversion?
Sunken cost fallacy.
Sunk. Yeah, there you go. There
Sunk
you go.
cost fallacy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that, but it's like here, and it's like, and frankly, like, yeah. So it actually promotes almost some sort of grazing in a lot of ways,
Mhm.
and just sort of like, yeah. And again, and that kind of actually I think runs counter to how we ought to, And it's not to say like, hey, mindless dumb fun is like whatever. Like sometimes I
Sure.
have like some of my favorite video games are just kind of mindless and dumb.
Mhm.
I just like them because I like them. But that's not, you don't want that to be normative. That needs to
Yeah.
be the exception rather than the rule.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And in saying that, there are certain games that I have heard that have more substance to them that have gotten popular on Roblox as well.
mhm.
So it's not always the case, but it is. I would venture to say that it's the case by and large.
It's probably a predominant,
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do want to share a little bit of my personal experience with Roblox before we get to kind of the darkest aspects of Roblox, and we're almost done. There's not too much more to talk about.
Yeah.
But like I said, my older two kids, they played the games with their friends, and they tended to gravitate towards. And this actually isn't necessarily Roblox's fault. I think that my kids, especially my son, is just kind of geared this way. He likes creepy things. He likes dark things. And there were a lot of creepy games on Roblox. And so he tended to go towards those and play those games, and he really enjoyed those. And my wife and I started to recognize that he would talk about those a lot. That's kind of the things that he was thinking about, is these creepy games. Oh, this guy's out to get you with a bloody knife. He'd start drawing these pictures, which, okay, horror movies, the kid's drawing creepy pictures. Yeah, but he's like, my son he does not have a dour disposition. It's just like, oh, okay, that's creepy, and whatever. And as time went on, it was a good portion of the things that he was thinking about, that he was drawing, and that he started, was talking to other kids about, and that he would get excited about because he liked these types of games. And we recognized that, okay, we need to pump the brakes on this, because we don't want him to be dwelling on this stuff all the time. It's also, frankly, it's a bit embarrassing that we meet someone new and he's like, oh, have you played this game where you're running away from these monsters, or let's play, let's get together and play this, not even digitally, but, I'll be the guy with the knife and I'll chase after you. It's like, I don't want that to be kind of the impression that you get from my kids. And so we told our kids they had to kind of pump the brakes on those dark games. Well, long story short, we came to find out, I was able to take a look at his tablet, and what he had told us that he had been playing was not actually what he had been playing. He would actually play some of these more dark games as well. So we ended up taking it away from him. So that was my experience. And again, I don't 100% fault Roblox for that. Part of that's just his disposition. He's not freaked out by those things. He enjoys those things. So he's probably going to be, as he gets older, he's probably going to enjoy horror movies. Okay. But for that time, we had taken it away. Since then, other stuff has come out about the platform itself, and especially leading up to this episode, doing some more research and seeing what people had to say about it. There's a lot more to this as well.
Yeah. And I guess I can kind of like tee off some of this with just like, my wife and I know we have friends who, it goes a little bit more like I don't want to disclose too much. Like I have to be pretty careful.
Yeah.
I think it's really easy to, sometimes we see this stuff and it feels like we see headlines or whatever, and it feels sensationalistic.
Sure.
And then you sort of get actually like front row seats, to some of this. And so it's like some people we know have a child who was on Roblox. This young child, and young enough that the child shouldn't have had, like, it's like there's like, boys and girls of a certain age, they might have boyfriends and girlfriends, but it's mostly nonsense.
Sure.
But this child had a significant other through Roblox.
Okay.
That, and so that was kind of weird. And I think some of that was put to a stop, but then the child ended up coming, like, and this isn't like, this is like one scenario. I've heard like a couple.
Sure.
Like, and again, from friends, from people I know personally, like who like, oh, like I've had these experiences, or like, but this child ended up coming out, I think at a fairly young age. One was reading some pretty disturbing books, sort of like that came out, like it was like they were reading, like, and it was like fiction, but it was like and it was technically young adult fiction, but it was like, again, for this child, it's like, this is not age appropriate to you.
Yeah.
But then the child also claimed to be, I want to make sure it's like, because I had never heard this term before.
Okay.
I want to say, so we all know furries, they're gross. But they're actually sort of like the shallow end of the pool. Oof. There's sort of like, you can go a little bit deeper into that sort of degeneracy, and but there's a sort of a basically they're called Therians. They call themselves Therians, someone who identifies as and this is what Bing gave me, but a Therian is someone who identifies as a specific non-human animal relating to its essence and behaviors on a spiritual, psychological, or emotional level, despite not having the characteristics of that animal. This can have a connection to real animals such as wolves or hawks, or even mythical creatures. They are distinct from furries, as their identification is more about a personal connection to the animal rather than a costume or community aspect. So this child, again, a young child, not even like not 13, and again, but it's like, this is preteen.
Yeah.
Is like, I'm a Therian and I'm homosexual. And yeah. And so it's like, these are ideas that, what I'm going to tell you is that, as a general rule, this child has had no exposure to outside of Roblox.
Yeah.
Like, and so it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, and I mean, so it's like, with you and your son, it's like, it fostered, like, he was just kind of being disobedient.
Right.
Yeah.
But
there's actually like and it's kind of like, it's one of those things where, and again, I can't remember if we were talking, it was probably pre-recording, but the fact of the matter is, like, Chris Hansen from To Catch a Predator, he's doing a documentary on Roblox. Like, listen, if you have the guy who kind of made his bones in a lot of ways with a television show that was about running down and exposing people trying to have sexual relationships with children, and he's like, oh, hey, there's a documentary here. That's a major red flag. That's like all the red flags, like they're all up. And it's long been rumored that they have, like, ISIS at one point in time was supposed to be like recruiting kids, like, in, like, basically, like, but yeah, the grooming and the sexual predator presence on, and this is not just like, this is a long-standing thing that has been, like, people within the community have, like, been looking at, and a lot of the lawsuits that we were talking about, like, from states, revolve around the fact that, like, Roblox is basically like, it's not a walled garden, it's not a gated community, and that there are people who are in this actively seeking to do harm to your children. And that doesn't mean that every kid on Roblox is being groomed. Right. Like, cause there's like a massive overreaction where it's like, oh, but it does mean that there is a non-0% chance that, like, if your child is on Roblox, they could, like, they will come across, or they could come across this stuff. It, again, not like, it is a non-zero. It is, and it is, because of the prevalence of this, it is significantly more than non-zero.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. And there are a few reasons why, and I don't want to delve into all of the details for fairly obvious reasons, just because I don't want to kind of relive some of the stuff that I've learned. But if you think about the landscape of a game, a platform that is primarily, well, no, it is user-generated content, then it starts to click into place. Oh, okay. And it's a place where a significant portion of their user base are these preteen age kids. Then you start to realize, oh, this is a place that people who for predators, or edgelord teenagers, want to mess with children, with the content that they create. And so while Roblox as a platform has some safety standards, okay, I'm not saying it's completely devoid. It's not a complete Wild West. As a company, Roblox has put their priority on having as many users as possible so that they can make as much money as possible over and against the safety of the users on their platform. So while they do have certain standards that are to be met within the game, it is not difficult if you think about the way that YouTubers get around saying words on YouTube. So unaliving yourself. You can talk about that on YouTube. You can't actually say, another word for that. Same kind of rules apply for Roblox, in that you cannot come out. You're not easily going to be able to display full hardcore explicit material on Roblox. However, you can use doublespeak, and you can start to groom children. You can do things with your avatars that simulate acts. You can create a game that is a popular type of game on the Roblox platform for a while was public bathroom simulators, where you go and meet someone of the opposite sex in a public bathroom and you start chatting with them. There was another form is you create condos just with rooms with a bed in each room, so you can find someone to chat with in a bedroom. Like the things that are obvious gateways into introducing young children to inappropriate material. And then from there, you take it off Roblox, you take it to a different platform, different social media site. And then you start to see, okay, this is the way that predators would work. And so there's that with yep.
And in a lot of ways, it's like, it's not just that Roblox has a vested interest in just getting as many users as possible. Think about who had, a child has a fairly limited income. You know who doesn't? Grown adults with agendas.
Yep.
And it's like, and so it's like, Roblox actually has a vested interest in keeping these people on. And I think, and again, it's, you can't, this is like sort of like speculation and, but it has, we talked about some of the inconsistency in sort of dealing with piracy. The inconsistency, there's also an inconsistency on who Roblox will go after and how.
Yep.
And anybody like blowing whistles, Roblox sort of pretty aggressively goes after.
Yep.
Like it's, so yeah, it's tough. It's like, you don't want to say, you can't say that it's not coincidence, but
yeah,
like,
well, and there are people who have been on the safety team of Roblox that have come out and said their priority as a company has been. So it's not all speculation. When you talk about specific instances, sure. Yeah. But as a company, they don't want to put too many things in place because then that's going to limit their growth potential. So there's that.
And I think just like the and just like to just the fact that they know that this is a problem,
yeah,
and that they would willingly endanger your children for the sake of profit, like on top of everything else.
Yeah.
Like that's disgusting.
Yeah.
It is like, you know what, like, the one thing that like Nintendo does things that make me crazy.
Sure.
But I think like one of the things, and it's not like they allow questionable content to be published on their storefront. Like there's actually, it's kind of bizarre and pathetic. But the reality is like they recognize that children are a primary demographic and they safeguard those children. They have a vested interest in making sure that your children are safe.
Yeah.
Like, and they do prioritize that. And then like I said, and so you have this company on the other side of things. And again, that's relevant because they are comparable in size.
Yeah. Which is kind of crazy to think about. Yeah. You had talked about kind of the company going after whistleblowers. Just a quick story. One of the most high profile case right now has to do with a user who'd been playing Roblox for a long time. He actually himself was caught up in a predator relationship. He was the prey. He was the child. But he kind of ended up turning that around through a number of circumstances, and now he does predator stings on people on Roblox. Because he has repeatedly reached out to Roblox to get them to ban accounts that are preying, or who are going after children. And as a company, Roblox does not seem to do very much on their own. And so he does these stings. His name is Schlep. If you just Google it, you can get details on it. He's actually the reason why he got in contact with Chris Hansen, why Chris Hansen is doing this documentary. So long story short, Roblox has made it clear they do not endorse predator stings like Schlep does, and therefore banned him and all of his accounts, and his IP address is banned so that he cannot make another account. When a number of people on Roblox found out about this, they started making games that are called Free Schlep and making accounts that are called Free Schlep. All of those accounts get banned because they mention this man. Well, he's a young man. I think he's in his young 20s. And they get banned for that. Meanwhile, there are multiple instances of accounts that are called Jeffrey Epstein, games that are Diddy Party games that are not blocked, they're not banned, they're allowed on the platform. And so when we talk about inconsistencies, it's things like this that, while I understand from a business standpoint, you cannot condone predator catching and things like that. I totally understand that as a business, you can't condone that.
No, however, I'm going to push back. I think you absolutely, as a business, you have an obligation to your customers.
I would want to hire that kid. That would be me. Our safety.
I think you have a responsibility to your users and to protect them, especially the minors. So I would say like to say like, oh, we can't condone stings. I'm like, no, you absolutely should. I'm saying like, I think the fact that they do not aggressively pursue this makes it disgusting.
Yes.
I just wanted to I think like that's the problem.
Yeah.
And again, I know that you weren't they're saying from a financial, we can't. But I'm like,
it's vigilantism that they do not want to encourage, which I understand. Well, I would not want to put a teenager in harm's way. Like a teen figures they can start doing this and then tries to meet up with there's so many.
No, but the fact that they've actively stomped it out,
Yeah.
like is
Right.
like that's a problem.
Again,
Like
I would want to if someone gave me the type of proof that Schlepp came up with that shows this thing happening repeatedly, I would want to hire him for my safety team. You know, like
Yeah.
he understands and he's been on this
Well,
platform
and
for
it's like I said, they have a vested interest in not stomping it out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like and again, it just like I'm like, I think it's actually pretty, and maybe this is strong. So I think it's pretty damning, for them, like the people running this company that like. And again, I just come out. It's like they are putting your children at risk for their bottom line.
Yeah.
In a very significant way. So yeah.
And like I said, I don't want to go into any more details. There's plenty of information if you'd like to search it out. Yep.
It's like, yeah, just be prepared to like be really disappointed and perhaps even angry.
The weirdest part, I mean, even your example, is well, you prefaced it by saying that you know perhaps we're jaded. It doesn't sound real. That is an extremely fringe way of thinking that was introduced to a child. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, like here's the thing. Like I probably live on the internet way more than some people. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I actually had an exchange with a coworker where it's like that song Pink Pony Club came up and they were like, she's about my age. And she was like, what is this? I was like, oh, it's all over the radio. Kids love it. You know, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's like, and actually like, you know, there's kind of a thing how like middle-aged dads actually kind of like the song too. It's weird. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, it's weird. Like, you know, I said, but anyways, so I live on the internet. Like I don't live on the internet, but I'm I'm fairly tech savvy. I'm fairly like present in a lot of ways. Like I don't participate in social media in the sense that like, I'm not like, I don't post nearly as much as I used to, but I'm still there. I still like, I open up Twitter. I get angry at all the stupidity. I open up Facebook. I get angry at all the stupidity. I like to look at Instagram until the feed starts saying like, hey, like here's things to look at. And I'm like, I don't want to look at those things. But so like, we're fairly aware and it's like, and just because of like my nature, like I find weird rabbit holes to go down all the time. That term was so foreign to me, the Therian thing. Yeah. And again, it's incredibly fringe.
Yeah.
And I think outside of that experience, I would not know what that is.
Yeah.
Like I still wouldn't know. And the fact that like, and again, that is a highly uncommon and unlikely ideology for this child to be exposed to.
Right.
At a preteen age.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's, you know, and I think this speaks to our culture. It's like, it's one thing for a child that young to like maybe be encouraged by their environment to like sort of explore their sexuality prematurely, and sort of maybe adopt heinous like ideologies that like, you know, it's like we see all the time in broader culture, like kids are like, I'm 10 years old and I'm gay. And it's like, you have no idea what you are. You're a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, but that's neither here nor there. But I think like I said, like that's fairly commonplace. That one's not outside the realm of like, but like, again, specifically the Therian thing. I was like, because Megan, my wife, was like, do you know what this is? And I was like, I've never heard of this before in my life. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, this is unhinged.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
it's the, sorry, I'm trying to be careful with my words. It is the type of thing that someone who is very consumed with sexual content on the internet for a long time seeks out for something because it's something different. So to be introduced to something like that as a child is like, I didn't, the gravity of that didn't hit me until I thought about it a little bit more.
Yeah, well, and I think like some of that is just like unfortunately like almost like a necessary consequence of the radical individualism that we have culturally sort of like chased after.
Yeah.
Right. Where it's like if the entirety of like because like that's part of like the lie that Western culture is really like just like pouring down these kids' throats, and it's like and it speaks to like the I don't know if rabidity is a word, but like just the sort of like the intensity that these people will like there are things that I just frankly don't think make up for very good personalities that become people's entire personalities. And then just like, if the whole of your existence and the meaning for your being is self-determined and everything else, like it's like it gets dark real fast.
Yeah.
And I think that, because it does sort of anyways, that's a kind of a different thing altogether. But it's like the reality is like it's an incredibly fringe ideology that frankly a preteen should know nothing about. Like, and it's like, dude, it's like one of those things where it's like, it's almost like you would think it was like nonsense, right? It's like, cause like
Absolutely.
kids that young say dumb stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I remember growing up wanting like, to have like the soul of a griffin or something, it's like you wanted it to be
Animorph,
like special and
right?
magical. Like, it's like, and it's like, so it's like you would say something, but like, that's a very specific thing. And it's like, and again, it's incredibly fringe. So it's like, and the point is that child did not just come up with that or come across that on their own.
Yeah, exactly.
That was fed to them. And anyways, I'm kind of like, so it's just like, as we've been talking about this, I just keep like, I'm trying not to get to whatever, cause it's just gross. It's just gross. And it's like, listen, most corporations, like we know that like most corporations are seeking to exploit the consumer base. And there are lots of toy companies seek to exploit your children. Yeah. Well, really, they're seeking to exploit you, like in your wallet. But this is like, there's a vested interest in exploiting your children in incredibly vile ways here at play here.
Right. Because you have the danger from one side of it that is just internet culture, and you have a large mass of children who are largely unsupervised on this platform. And so on the one side, you've got predators in of various stripes and kinds. Okay, I'm not saying everyone is going to abduct a child, but I'm saying those that would seek to, even if it is just introduce. I have this weird, for lack of a better term, sorry, I'm going to say it, fetish, and I want to show other people, even if it's just exhibition, whatever. You've got internet culture that just like brings this stuff into this platform that is built on user-generated content, that they're able to find ways to do it, and to present this to children. On the other side of it, which is just very disheartening to hear and to learn about, is you have a company that is not seeking to put things in place to limit that necessarily. The barest of limitations are there. I don't want to make it sound like they necessarily encourage it. However, it seems as though they have a vested interest in keeping people on the platform regardless of the abuse that occurs on their platform. And so it's kind of just, as I've looked into it, it's just disheartening every time. Everywhere I look, it's disheartening because it's dangerous. That is not to say, like we started off, that every child who plays Roblox is going to be, consumed by something dark and evil.
No, but it's also it's an unnecessary exposure.
Yeah.
Like, there's, it's just, and especially like, it's like, and frankly, I think like so many parents in so many ways, like this is what I would say is like, I think that so many parents still kind of look at video games as being primarily like kid stuff, and like Roblox is very like kid friendly in presentation, right? It's like, it's very like,
they look like Lego characters.
yeah. So it's like you would look at it and sort of like kind of dismiss it as whatever. It's like whatever.
Right.
But the reality is like, and I would just say like, listen, if you have a child, and I would say this about any, like, you wouldn't let your kid watch a movie that you knew nothing about. At least I would hope not. Right. Unsupervised. Right. And so video games are no different. Like, especially as like the medium matures, like you need, like as a parent, you need, like specifically, I'm talking to parents here, you need to know what your kid is playing. You need to know who your kid is talking to on these platforms.
Yeah.
Because it's not like this stuff, like it's probably not as common, but like, and I'm not trying to scare anybody, right? But it's like, I play with people I don't know all the time online, right? And so your kids are being exposed to, like, you need to know what they're playing. You need to know who they're playing with and who they're talking to on these platforms. You need to be involved. You need to be aware. Like you have to. You cannot afford to be an uninformed, passive kind of like. You just can't afford. You cannot afford to be uninformed and passive in this regard.
Yeah,
because like, again, it doesn't happen to every kid. But what if it is yours? Yeah. So
I'll give a final case in point, and I think that's a great charge, is that we ought to have oversight over our kids. We were put in place to be their parents for a reason, and we have a responsibility, like you mentioned earlier, to shape that child, and to lead him in the way that he should go. And part of that is protecting them, and we see this as a dangerous platform. The final just kind of case in point is that here recently, with the lawsuits and backlash and kind of national news, Roblox as a platform, the steps that they have taken towards safety on the platform, because now that they're getting hit with, some of this stuff is coming out. One of the latest things that they've done here recently is implementing facial, like an AI company that, in order to, every account falls into an age bracket, and in order to go to the higher age brackets, you need to have your face scanned by this AI company through Roblox. And there's multiple instances of being able to get around it really easy, showing a parent's ID card, for that facial scan.
Wasn't it like you could like hold up like a picture of a dog?
I know that was the Australian.
No, that was the Australian facial rec thing.
But I did read something where a kid could just draw a beard on them, and the AI scans them as an adult. On the flip side, there are also young kid accounts for sale on eBay right now for adults to take advantage of. And so the purpose was, this way you can only chat with your own age group. But almost immediately you have people selling, here's a younger age group account. If you want one, you can just buy one off me. So now you're talking to children. Now you have children, pretending to be older so they can talk to older people. So
yeah, and kids don't lie about their age.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And so these are kind of the half-hearted safety measures that they have in play that just present more problems. And so I think from what I've seen, Roblox has proven themselves not to have your child's best interests. Let this episode be a warning. as
Yeah,
to, you know,
and not the don't we're not trying to stoke panic, right?
right.
I think like panic is always a problem. But like be wise, be involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Recognize that they're, yeah, the children on these platforms may be exposed to things. And so, yeah, you need to have oversight as much as you can if you're going to allow it. Because maybe someone listening has a child who's been playing on Roblox for years and no problems, and their friends get together and, you know, do these different things. Okay. You know, I'm not going to make any judgments. Again, I've spoken to my kids about what they've seen on Roblox, and I believe them when they say they haven't seen anything inappropriate, just, you know, the
Yeah.
dark stuff that, you know, so.
Well, in our notes here too, I think there's
Mhm.
you ask a question. I think it's a good question. Can it be redeemed?
Yeah.
And I'd say until Roblox management aggressively and act like it could be, because like we've said on record numerous times, like this is in theory really cool.
Mhm.
Like it's a really cool idea, but the reality is there are a bunch of perverse and malicious actors who should be rooted out, like ruthless. Like here's the thing, they're there because in a way they're welcomed there.
Mhm.
And because if I'm not saying, like, sometimes people are persistent, but like if Roblox was aggressive in chasing these people out,
Mhm.
they would not feel safe. They would not, you know what I'm saying? Like they're
Oh,
only
yeah.
there because Roblox allows them to be there
Yeah.
in a lot of ways and has no interest in removing them. So until that changes, it could be redeemed. If
Mhm.
you would basically take a torch to the viper dens, you
Right.
know.
Right. Which admittedly is going to also drop their market share. You know, it's gonna hurt them.
Yeah.
One, to enforce safety standards, but also you're going to lose a lot of your users because predators are willing to pay money to access
Yeah.
children. I'll put it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
And so you are going to lose money. It's going to hurt. And like you said, you're going to have to take a torch to it. You're going to have to change the way that you even do things.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is potential, but I don't see that.
Yeah, until something like that were to happen, I think it's just, again, like I would strongly recommend just like you know, full disclosure, it just will not be allowed. It's not allowed in my house.
Yeah.
Like Byron will never have access to it, period. Like at
Mhm.
least not from me.
Mhm.
Like, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah.
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 Yeah, my son can continue to play if he you know wants to play Steal the Brain Rot. He'll have to do that on Fortnite.
Yeah. I mean, like, dude, like, yeah, it's just like, you know, and they're like, you know, he's probably in good company because it's a bunch of other like 10 and 12-year-olds
That's how he was introduced to it. Yes.
being stupid.
Yeah. Some friends. Yeah. Being dumb. And
Dude,
he's
I
like, "Oh, I
remember
wanna do this too." Yeah.
Megan actually played Fortnite for a while.
Okay.
And I just laughed at her at one point in time because she liked to play the game.
Okay.
And she was like, she got on, like, there were a bunch of kids like asking like for a particular gun. Like, do you have this gun? Do you have this gun? Do you have this gun? And like, she eventually just like, I was like, you have to turn off, like, you have to mute them.
Don't do that.
Because like the mode she was playing was like a casual mode or something. And it was like, these kids wanted to like, do you have the whatever? And she was like, this is so annoying. Like, just like, yeah, I'm trying to do stuff, like, go away. And anyways, but yeah, I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, it's yeah. But anyways, yeah, it's a no-fly zone. Like the McKeever household is a no-fly zone as far as Roblox is concerned.
Yeah, same here. And I've spoken with my wife as well that the kids are not going to get, and it's been a good 9 months since they've been able to play it anyway. But they do, fairly frequently talk about. I'd say it comes up every 2 to 3 months of when are we going to get Roblox back, kind of a thing, because they have friends and again, because I believe them when they say they weren't getting into anything, heinous.
Yeah.
They didn't have that experience, and so it's just disheartening for me to know some of the stuff that I know now. And yeah, that's how we're going to move forward with it here in the Broccolo household as well. But yeah, hopefully this has been helpful. It's not the funnest thing to tackle because neither of us are passionate about this game in particular. No. But
the only passion I feel towards this game is that I passionately wish it would just be wiped off the face of the planet.
At this point, yeah. And again, this was not comprehensive, and there is plenty of detail that you can go into. And I didn't have to do any like deep dive research. I simply looked at YouTube videos and got some information there and, confirmed a few things outside of that. You don't have to dig too deep, but you will find that it is very, very gross material.
The reporting on this is broad.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of content about how
in a way we're late to the game in addressing this. So
yeah.
But hopefully it's helpful for fellow, I don't know, I was going to say millennials, Gen Xers, whatever, who probably haven't even touched the game, but now you know what it is, and you're warned. Fair warning.
Hide your kids, man.
Yes. Yeah. There you go. I doubt your wife is going to be concerned, but at least hide your kids.
At least hide your kids.
Because they're going after everyone out here. Anyways, I had another thought and I just lost it, but so I suppose it doesn't really matter, but there you go. That's
it doesn't really matter.
There you go. But that's Roblox, at least where it stands right now, and our thoughts on that. So hope it's been helpful.
Well, yeah. All right. Well, like this has just been a hard one. It's kind of like I've been just eagerly waiting to like get off this topic, and I think it's just time to sort of like start wrapping this guy up. So, let's just move on with the forums. Obviously, like, do we have any shout outs? Do you have any shout outs?
I do have a shout out. I'm sorry. I will circle back because I remembered what thought that I had.
Okay.
And that thought is what I believe I mentioned at the beginning of the episode. But Nate, would you recommend Roblox?
Absolutely not.
No. Yeah.
100% not.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I don't think it's a must play. I don't think it's a should play.
I think it's actively a should not play.
Yes.
Like actively avoid this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
Yeah.
And again, if you are a parent who is actively involved with oversight over your child and you haven't seen any negative effects of this game, I am not going to judge you. However, I think it's firmly in the do not play, not play category.
It's a hard pass.
Yeah.
Like, just nope.
Yeah. For all the danger and the concerning issues. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that that's out of the way, that was my final thought. For my shout out, now something, thankfully, I can think of something far more positive. My shout out this week goes to Alex Big Chill. He is one of our patrons, but I just noticed recently how much he's been commenting on YouTube, and I really appreciate that, Big Chill. That's a really cool thing to do. So thank you for that, and shout out to you. So you're just a cool guy in general.
Dude.
But
I need to add his
I
need to add his patron nomination to the
list. Already took care of it.
Oh, you did?
Absalom's on there. Yes, sir.
You the best.
No, Big Chill's the best. But
no, Big Chill is he's a sweetie.
He's a real one.
He's a real one. Unlike, so this is sort of like, listen, I am not. I hate what I'm about to say.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and I just feel like I have to because I talked a lot of smack, and Wesley Ray is the most mediocre of the potato chaps. He won the 2025 Fantasy Critic League.
He did.
And him and Micah, I thought they were my friends, but they're really mean to me and they suck.
They're mean to me.
They're mean to me and they make me feel bad about myself and they suck and I don't like them. So it's like, I wish you were better. How about shouting out to like not sucking you two? Wesley, he won the 2025 season for the Potato Chaps, and
by a thin margin too. What was it, like 4 or 5 points?
It was small. It was not. Yeah.
No. Well done.
But we've got another season of it's a league that doesn't really matter anyways, but we've got another season of that going on. So just want to shout out to those guys, even though it doesn't really matter, like they're all on board and sort of like, having a good time. We drafted. Oh, that was like, I was talking about how like yesterday was just like a super long day. I drafted with everybody and then I actually recorded an episode of Quick Play with Mark.
Ah, that's right.
So I was very late. I was very tired and but yeah, speaking of very late, it's very late here. I'm pretty tired and I think we need to just just kind of let's just land this plane, man. So right. I think we did as much as I think we needed to with Roblox. I think it's frankly, I wish we had far less to do with it. Like it was like one of those things that like I pretty early on was like, I started doing some research and I wanted to like dig around and I was just like, I don't like this at all.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, I hard outed. So I was like, but yeah. So we've done the thing that we came here to do tonight. Until next time, what should they do, Josh?
Guys, keep beating down your backlogs and we'll keep breaking down the benefits.